Welcome to something special. Welcome to TEDx. This TEDx event is part of a global conversation that takes place every day in every corner of the world. In schools, in theaters, in workplaces, even in prisons, people gather to hear the best ideas bubbling up in their communities. More than 3,000 TEDx events are held every year in 170 countries. It's a remarkable thing. TEDx events are self-organized under a license from TED, a non-profit organization devoted to discovering and sharing powerful ideas in the form of TED Talks. It's not TED itself, but your local TEDx team of volunteers that has done all the work to put on today's event, including booking all of the speakers. It's this team's ideas, dedication, and time that have made this possible. We really hope today's program sparks an exciting conversation. This is a day for curiosity and for skepticism, for inspiration and for action. The more you enter into it, the more you will take out. And now, on with the show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back for our second night of TEDxKidsElCajon. My name is Jen Petraglia, and I'm one of your co-organizers of this year's event. Before we get started, we kind of want to know who is joining us tonight. So 260 attendees on Zoom. I can't see Facebook, but we're going to throw up a poll and we want to see how many of you attended our session 1 yesterday. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and enter your comments or your answer in the comment section. All right. Wow, we're about split. %49%, almost half of you guys attended yesterday. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And about half of you are joining us tonight. Welcome. This is our 6th annual TEDxKidsElCajon and our first ever virtual event. We are so excited you're able to join us tonight from home, as we all are, as we're all in this new normal together.
Hello, my name is Howard Shen. I'm one of the co-organizers here as well. First of all, I'd like to wish my brother Ben a very happy birthday.
Yay!
Well, and this brings us to our second poll. Who's had a quarantine birthday? And again, if you're on watching on Facebook, please put your answer in the comment section.
Pretty rare.
Very rare, I guess. So, well, for those of us who had our quarantine birthdays,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, and we'll celebrate properly soon.
Yes.
So back in March, we had everything set, partners, entertainers, interactive activities, and most importantly, these amazing TED Talks. But when COVID-19 started to become more serious, everyone's health and safety became our primary concern. And based on the local guidelines and our past average attendance, by mid-March, we postponed what we had originally planned for May 2nd. Now, knowing how hard all of our speakers had practiced and worked on their TED Talks and not wanting to give up this amazing opportunity to spread our ideas, we quickly pivoted and decided to present our event virtually. So we began to meet with the TED organization, fellow TEDxers from around the globe. As we expected, everyone was in the same boat. So many decided to go virtual as well. Now, knowing this has never been done before, we exchanged ideas, talked best practices, learned from each other, and here we are, TEDxKidsElCajon virtual.
Yes, and lots of lessons learned.
Right.
Last night too. So about 2 months ago, when we decided to do this virtual, we really were asking ourselves, what is the purpose of TED and TEDx? Right. We love bringing our community together to connect and celebrate. And I think we saw that in volumes last night in session 1. People from not just El Cajon and our community, from outside our community, outside our state, around the world, were joining us to celebrate our students. So what really makes our TEDx so incredibly special are our speakers and their ideas that they have to share. So for the last 3 weeks, our speakers anxiously and excitedly agreed and jumped on, and they have been practicing at home with coaches virtually. And to the parents of our speakers, this is you too. Thank you for all your help and support coaching our speakers and our students at home this year. All of our talks tonight are actually pre-recorded. Last week, we brought all of our speakers in one at a time to our theater at Greenfield Middle School to an empty audience to record their talks. And at that moment, hearing their talks and seeing the proudness in their parents' eyes, we knew we had made the right decision. Right now, our community needs each other more than ever in our current times, especially today. We all need some good news right about now, don't we? And watching these TED Talks tonight will hopefully do just that. So hopefully tonight, we hope you laugh, smile, engage in conversations, become more curious, and are inspired by our amazing speakers.
We're using Zoom as our platform, and hopefully, and like everybody else, Zoom has become almost our daily life. Most of our audience should be familiar with the features. Throughout the evening, our moderators, Tamara and Kathy, will be pushing out questions, resources relevant to the talk to promote conversations with viewers at home next to you. We have turned off the chat feature so all of the attendees can enjoy a distraction-free event.
Yes, so before we go any further, we have a special message from one of our TEDxKidsElCajon organizers, Tamara Otero.
Good evening and welcome. We are so looking forward to sharing with you our amazing students tonight. We are privileged to live in a diverse community, and the richness of our diversity has created a beautiful tapestry of color, empathy, kindness, and creativity in our schools. Tonight, you will learn to broaden your mind, fill your heart, and motivate your feet to be the change you want to see. Our students will share their stories of courage and inspiration. They are truly amazing. It's a rare day that we get to glimpse into the future, but I hope you realize tonight as you watch that you are watching the future of our world, and it's full of hope and possibility. I have loved the positivity of our speakers. Positivity is like the rudder of a giant ship. It can slowly change the direction of its intended destiny. I hope that they encourage you to do the same. Thank you for joining us. We know you will enjoy our happy evening together. Good night.
Thank you, Tamara. You always sound so poised. I always love listening to you. We want to remind everyone that our theme this year is My Possible Future Self. Tonight in session 2, all of our talks and all of our speakers tonight have a theme of self-reflectors. As you're watching, we challenge you to listen to the topics in their talks and reflect on how they might impact your life moving forward from where we are today, and think about what your possible future self would look like. To lead us through our show, I'd like to introduce our hosts, 5th grader from Madison Elementary, Justin Edwards. So sit back, relax, and enjoy session 2 of TEDx Kids at El Cajon.
Isn't it amazing that everyday people from around the world are sharing ideas worth spreading? Thank you for joining us at this wonderful community event. We appreciate you for giving up your time to hear our speakers. The speakers you see today are from Cajon Valley Schools, a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family. Our theme for this session is self-reflectors. All the speakers during this session have talks that center around personal growth. To start us off, Anaya McKinley from Naranka is going to talk about how running helped change her life. Please welcome Anaya to the stage.
I want everybody to close their eyes for a moment. Now I want you to imagine a world where every girl knows and activates her limitless potential and is free to pursue her dreams. You can now open your eyes. Doesn't this sound like an incredible world? Well, I'm here to tell you that this is possible with a little help. This year I got the amazing opportunity to join my school's first ever Girls on the Run team. Girls on the Run is an after-school running program that brings joy and confidence to over 1.8 million girls in grades 3rd through 5th. During my Girls on the Run season, I attended weekly practices at every practice. I learned a valuable life skill that helped me feel confident and find my inner star power. Now, what exactly is star power, you might ask? Star power is what makes you unique and powerful. Everybody has these star powers, just a matter of finding it and activating it. While in Girls on the Run, I learned that there are 3 ways they can activate your star power. 1. Spending time with those who believe and encourage you. For me, this means avoiding people who bring me down and make me feel bad about myself. Instead, I choose to surround myself with family and friends who bring me up and make me smile. Number 2, you can activate your star power is by using positive self-talk. My team and I use positive self-talk a lot during our practices. For an example, when we would do our daily workouts, we would do the positive qualities and then repeat the positive self-talk in our head as we ran like this. You are strong. You are beautiful. You are brave. And you are confident no matter what. The 3rd way they can activate your star power is by doing things that remind you that you are uniquely talented. What makes me uniquely talented is I'm not afraid to take a risk or try new things. At the end of my Girls on the Run season, my team and I participated in a 5K. Running this race was the biggest accomplishment I have ever made. Even though I was tired, I still felt strong and more proud than ever. It also felt great to have my teachers, family, coaches all cheering me on. Girls on the Run has been a life-changing experience for me. I have learned so much about myself and my strengths and strategies to help me stay physical and mentally healthy. I want every girl to know what it's like to be a girl on the run. Even if your school doesn't have Girls on the Run, you can still work on your physical health by running, jogging, or walking. You can also find ways to build your confidence and believe in yourself. Michelle Obama once said, "Don't be afraid. Be focused, be determined, be hopeful, and be empowered."
That really made me think about what kind of self-talk I use when I need motivation. It's also a reminder that it's important to be healthy inside and out. Have you ever wondered what it's like to grow up on a military base? In Cajon Valley, we have lots of students whose parents proudly serve in the military. Our next speaker is going to give you an inside peek into what it's like to be a brat. Please welcome from Rios Elementary School, Shiloh Zumdick, to the stage.
I'm a brat. I'm a military brat. I know what you must be thinking. She's calling herself a brat? When I say the word brat, I don't actually mean someone who throws a fit when they don't get their way. Brat stands for British Regiment Attached Traveler. That's just the military's fancy way of saying, wherever my dad leads, I have to follow, and I don't have much of a choice, do I? Look at me. I've been a military kid since the day I was born. It's the only life I've ever known. So that's what I do. When my dad leads, I follow him because I trust him. There are some serious perks to growing up in the military, but some parts straight up stink. For one, it's not easy to watch my dad go to dangerous countries. It's scary to think he may get hurt, or worse, not come home at all. There are times when my dad has to leave us to go on deployment, which is when he has to work in a different country. When he is on deployment, my family is very different. It's like my mom's a single mom. My mom has to take care of me and everything by herself. When he comes home, we adjust to being a normal family again. It's a lot of changes, but we do it because we love each other. I don't want to be a downer. I'm just being realistic. I understand my dad is leading others to defend our rights. So that's what I do. When my dad leads, I follow him because I trust him. Growing up in the military can be fun too. Like I said, there are perks. I get to go to fun activities like fancy daddy-daughter dances and camps like Camp Ethos with other kids who know exactly what being a military brat is like. I have friends all over the country. Like Scarlett. Scarlett's dad is on deployment. My dad just came home from deployment. We take each other's mind off their deployment by playing and go to fun places like Minchie's. It's really nice to have a friend who understands. How did it all start, you ask? My great-grandfather was in the Army. My great-uncle Dan was in the Vietnam War. He earned a Bronze Star. This is a medal you earned for being a hero. My grandpa was a Navy Seabee. My cousin Marco was in the Navy also. Later, my dad joined the Navy. You could say it's in our blood. As for me, the military brat, I plan on continuing our family's military legacy, because right now, I'm interested in being in the Army or doing something like my dad does. Construction mechanic for the military, because wherever my dad leads, I follow him.
You can really see how important it is to have family support when you are part of a military family.
Okay, audience, we want to hear from you again. On the poll, we want to know if you have any friends or family in any of the branches of the military.
Up next is our featured speaker, Ava Dusetsina from Hamashaw. Last year, she inspired us with the power of friendship, and this year, she's going to share the positive power of laughter. Let's hear it out for our featured speaker, Ava Dusetsina.
There is an old saying, laugh and the world laughs with you. Do you know who makes me laugh? My dad. He always has a joke to share. One day I came home from school when I was on JTV, and my dad randomly asked, why is it called JTV? Why not Hut TV? You don't go to Jamashaw. Get it? Hamashaw? Hut TV? This made me laugh a lot. Did you know that laughter is one of the main reasons why we are happy? It cheers us up and makes us more social. When you hear something funny, we all laugh along with each other. You can cheer a lonely person up with a funny story or a joke. It spreads smiles all over. Laughter is one of the greatest gifts that we share. It brings families, friends, and even strangers closer together. Audrey Hepburn once said, I love people who make me laugh. I honestly think it's the thing I like most, to laugh. It cures a multitude of ills. It's probably the most important thing in a person. So when you're stressed out or cannot think, just have a laugh. Let's give it a try. Do this laughing exercise with me. Step 1. Smile. Then start to giggle. Then turn your giggle into laughter. Then laugh louder and louder. Don't you feel better now? Laughter has many benefits that we don't think about. Researchers at Mayo Clinic say that there are many short-term and long-term effects of laughter. Some short-term effects of laughter are that laughter gets your blood flowing, relaxes your muscles, and lets your body take more oxygen. Mayo Clinic also says that there are many long-term effects of laughter. Some long-term effects of laughter are that laughter lowers your blood pressure, reduces pain, and improves your immune system. You know what? Laughter really is the best medicine. Some laughter is harmful though. Do not use laughter for teasing and mocking, as it can be hurtful to others. Only use laughter for fun and silliness. It's better not to laugh at people, but laugh with people. So what can you do to get more laughter into your life? So you know how people track how many steps they take, how much water they drink, and what food they eat? Why not track how many times a day you laugh? It's really good for your health. You could also spend time with those who make you laugh, or spread laughter by making others laugh. Always remember your daily dose of laughter.
It goes to show a little laughter makes a big difference in our happiness. Our next speaker has a powerful talk to share with you. The experience she is going to share is extremely personal and moving. Please help welcome Apio Yamun to the stage.
I know many of you are thinking that there has been a mistake. You may be thinking I am in 5th grade, but believe me, I am 9 years old and I am in 3rd grade. I get my height from my family, and that is where my story begins, with my dad. When my dad was 7 years old, 2 years younger than I am now, his village was attacked by the Sudanese government. The girls were kidnapped. The boys were forced to become part of the military and to come back and kill their own people. My dad was one of the lucky ones. He escaped. He ran into the forest and hid there alone for 3 days. Eventually, he found help from the elders of his tribe. They started walking from South Sudan to Ethiopia, thinking it would be a short distance. They ended up walking for more than 1,000 miles. Along the way, most of his friends died. My dad was one of the lucky ones. He survived. He and the other refugees stayed in Ethiopia for 3 years before they were forced to leave. At one point, they were forced at gunpoint into a crocodile-infested river. Many people drowned in the river, and some were eaten by the crocodiles. The few that survived started walking back to South Sudan and again to Kenya. My dad was one of the lucky ones. He made it to the Kakuma refugee camp. The children who made it to the camp became known to the world as the Lost Boys and Girls of Sudan. You might know their story from the book A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park. My dad's life in Africa was very different than the life I'm living now. Some days, my teacher makes us run on the track to get exercise. When the kids complain about running a lap, I think about my dad and his 1,000-mile journey. I am the lucky one. When I get to school, I can have breakfast if I want it. When I come to my classroom, I can choose a hot lunch or a cold lunch. Kids eat snacks during recess. When I get home, I have a delicious meal cooked by my mom or dad. I have never suffered from hunger. I am the lucky one. At school, I begin my day doing math on my computer. My table works as a whiteboard. We have crayons, pencils, paper, everything we need. I learn to read and write. I learn about science and social studies. I am learning math. I even learn about what kind of jobs might be in my future. This is not like the Kakuma refugee camp. We are the lucky ones. The children of South Sudan are not lucky. They don't have the things that they need for school. You cannot learn without school supplies and textbooks. We are the lucky ones. My dad works to raise money for the children of South Sudan. He wants them to get education like I'm getting here. He says education can open your voice, ideas, and thoughts. I am a lucky one. You are a lucky one. We are the lucky ones. And they can be the lucky ones.
Wow, such an amazing and inspiring talk. Her dad really was one of the lucky ones. It's always good to be reminded that we are all lucky in different ways. Our next speaker uses his competitiveness as motivation. Please welcome Aiden Macias to the stage.
Can everyone stand up?
Now find a partner or two. Everyone's heard of the game. Rock, paper, scissors, right? Okay, now I want you to play out with your partner until I ask you to sit down. Ready? Go. Okay, you can sit down now. And using your fingers, on a scale from 1 to 5, honestly share how badly you wanted to win. For holding up 4 or 5 fingers, you're probably a competitive person. Don't worry, this isn't a bad thing. In fact, today I'm here to tell you why being competitive is actually a pretty good attribute. First off, I think being competitive is good, because you always want to reach your highest potential. You push yourself to make people around you better, and you always give it your 110%. You should listen to me, because I'm a very competitive person. I'm right there with you. In fact, my competitive nature has brought me several academic awards, along with being on a top team in soccer and futsal. Maybe you're wondering, what is futsal? Well, futsal is a game played with feet on a basketball-sized court. There are 2 goalies, goals, offense and defense too, and you can probably guess the rest. Being on these 2 teams makes me hyper-competitive. I want to ask, do you know what competitiveness is? Well, according to the big book with a lot of words, you guessed it, the dictionary, competitiveness is a possession of a strong desire to be more successful than others. But in my opinion, competitiveness is where you're so passionate to the point you do anything to be the best. You push yourself over your limit. You can give something to your group so they can win. That is also seen as competitive. But many people see competitiveness as a bad thing. People think you be too serious or too aggressive when you don't need to be, though that is not true. Competitiveness has helped me in sports by making me try harder. It made me train harder than anyone else so I can get on the best team. Competitiveness has aided me in school by making me study harder to get the top test scores of the most interesting sentence. So school and sports are where you can be competitive, but people benefit in other areas too. Maybe friends, arts, video games, or your job. Competitiveness can go beyond the turf or the court. Artists, musicians, doctors can also compete, maybe astronomers. Doctors want to be the most trusted and certified. They want the fame for finding cures for diseases such as COVID-19. Astronomers have very similar competitive mindsets because they want to discover life on other planets so humans can inhabit. If they are competitive, they can earn a lot of money and respect, and the person or company will try new things to be number 1. First, they want to be the best in the block, in the city, in the county, the state, the country, and the world. Couldn't stretch my arms that far. Something you can do to become more competitive is to learn from your mistakes. That's key. When I play soccer and make a mistake, the next time I raise myself to a higher standard. I try not to get upset, and I've learned that the hard way. My team has lost games because we did not stay positive. But when we're positive, it pushed me to become more competitive, and more games are won. That's only one way to get better. Another way is to watch a leader of your job, sport, or hobby, and try to copy his or her moves and adjust the algorithm to fit your circumstances. And then perfect the algorithm. Because if you think about it, I'm the same as my icon, Ronaldinho, a Brazilian professional soccer and futsal player. Though he does his moves much faster than I do. I look to Ronaldinho as my leader to learn from him and eventually be as fast as him. I also learned from his mistakes. To conclude, it'll help humanity if more people are competitive, because it'll lead to more innovation, and things will be invented to help people in their daily lives. And it affects many aspects of people's everyday lives. So therefore, I see beyond all the negative thoughts of competitiveness to show you it is not what you think. And I challenge you to learn from your mistakes, change them in the future to be the best version of yourself. Competitiveness is great when it leads to innovation, but sometimes it can lead to frustration. Our final speaker for this session is Pharaoh Black. He's going to help us finish out the show feeling inspired. Let's hear it for Pharaoh.
Look at all these photos. What do they have in common? They are all amazing successes. The people who created these thought bigger and made things that people never dreamed of. Steve Jobs, the creator of Apple, maybe you've heard of him, once said, because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. If you don't think you can change something, you never will. You have to believe in yourself, even when people try to bring you down and think you're crazy. I am here today to challenge you to think bigger. I'm only 7 years old, and I am thinking bigger. Let me tell you my idea. I want to create a watch that lets you do different things, like breathe underwater, time travel, and fly. Maybe you would even be able to turn into different things, or defy gravity. It sounds crazy, but I don't care. That's what people say. That's what people say to everything different and new. Airplanes, crazy. A self-driving car, crazy. Standing on the moon, crazy. Taking someone's bad heart and replacing it with a good heart, crazy. I am a big thinker. As you can tell from my crazy watch idea, my goal is to be a scientist so I can help create and invent things that will change the world. I think that life would have a little more pizzazz in it and make life a lot easier. Let's take the idea of breathing underwater right now. We can only breathe underwater using scuba gear for about an hour. Let's think bigger. Could you imagine if we could breathe underwater for an unlimited time? This would change the whole experience. Because we could now dive down so many more meters, we could discover treasures in the underwater trench, or undiscovered shipwrecks, or even new kinds of fish we never knew existed. Jack Cousteau would have loved my invention. When it comes to flying, we have to travel in giant planes that take a long time to get to our destination. And it's awfully crowded. Let's think bigger. Could you imagine traveling in style with time travel? Traveling at the speed of light from the sun? Getting to your destination in a flash, with a lot of elbow room. Here I come, Africa. Lastly, every action on Earth takes thought and movement. But what if we could use telekinesis power? Do you know Darth Vader from Star Wars? He used telekinesis power, or the thought of his mind, to make things happen. Not only would this be a fun thing to do, like sneak candy from a high counter, just by thinking about it, but we could also help our world with just our thoughts. No more scary car chases, no more bad guys getting away. If our police officers could just think. Time to confess. At this point in my talk, I bet you think I'm 2 scoops of crazy and a side of cuckoo catchoo. I have a lot of cool and wild ideas that go through my head each day. And honestly, I'm not sure if I will create the inventions I spoke about in my talk, but I am confident that I'll spend my life determined to do the impossible, tackle the untackable, and dream the undreamable. I might fail, but I plan to get back up and think bigger to make a difference in my world.
And with that last talk, we have come to the end of session 2. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't registered for our final virtual TEDxKidsElCajon session tomorrow night at 6:30, please go to the TEDxKidsElCajon website. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening.
Yeah. Session 2, great job. Thank you everybody for joining us. I don't know about you, but I laughed with Ava. I know I'm definitely going to start thinking and being more aware because that made me feel so good. Thinking bigger,
Right.
First grade, watch out world. These guys are going to move things. So inspiring. They're so brave. such a great night.
So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow. If you register again at www.TEDxKidsElCajon.com. And everybody have a wonderful evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.